Hi.
Hello, we are live. We are live.
Every time I'm like, I go on this page, I like on this little slide, I'm like, okay, we did it right.
Yeah. No, I was watching the intro. I was like, this is so cool. I love it.
It feels so professional.
Yeah.
How are you doing, Shelby?
You know, I'm hanging in there, pretty exhausted, but that's the story of my life. I'm grateful to be here with you guys. Honored to be a guest on your all's little virtual event. Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, thank you for being here with us.
Of course.
Yeah, we're super, super ready to get this inside talk and ready to talk about, what's very serious right now. And we all know what's going on out there with COVID, and especially long COVID research, which is something that a lot of people don't really know about yet. It's barely getting out there. And you've been truly an inspiration, and being a voice with all of those long COVID haulers out there. So why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself with our audience? Who is Shelby Hedgecock, and what happened through that journey when you got COVID?
Yeah, of course. So my name is Shelby Hedgecock. I am 29 years old. I will be 30 next week. So grateful because I'm ready to kick my 20s to the curb. Like, I'm so over my 20s. I'm excited about being in my 30s. And I'm a former personal trainer. I live in Los Angeles, California, and I work day to day in marketing, but I am the new founder and CEO of Blooming Magnolia. And we are a long COVID research and mental health advocacy nonprofit. I was diagnosed with COVID on April 20th, 2020. And since then, it's been an absolute roller coaster. Started out with just normal, like, GI symptoms and headaches, and then it just progressed rapidly. And long story short, almost a year in, and I am not recovered. So I started, once I started realizing I wasn't getting any better last year, I was like, okay, I have to do something. And there was, in particular, there was a night where, like, I literally couldn't breathe. Like, my O2 stats were about 87 at night, and I would have just a racing pulse of over 130, and basically meaning, like, my organs weren't getting enough oxygen. And I was like, okay, if I freaking make it out of this, like, I'm going to use my voice. And so I slowly but surely started to do that. But early on, I was even like, I want to start a nonprofit. Like, I saw, it's kind of like you watch a train wreck, and I could see the train wreck happening before it even happened. And I knew that it was going to be a big problem. And I slowly started working on Blooming Magnolia. While I've been chronically sick, honestly, Blooming Magnolia has gotten me through my darkest days. Just the thought of helping so many people and being able to impact a lot of lives. And I finally launched her on March 15th. So what was that, last Monday? So I'm just very grateful. I'm coming up on my 1 year COVID anniversary. I'm still struggling. I have widespread organ damage. It's been the toughest thing I've ever been through in my entire life, but I'm grateful to be alive, grateful to be here, and I'm looking forward to doing my part in changing the world. So.
Yeah, and I believe you can.
I
really do
I do
believe
too. It's hard, but I'm hopeful.
Yeah, and I know it's super tough going through something like that. I think everybody already knows someone who's had COVID or who has died from COVID. And I would want to know, and I don't know, maybe our audience would also want to know, how were you able to embrace all of these challenges that you went through? and that you still keep going through.
Yeah.
I honestly think that that's just me as a person. I mean, I've been through a lot in my life. Like, yeah, I've accomplished some pretty cool things, but what people don't know about me, or what a lot of people don't know, is the fact, I was suicidal whenever I was 27. I was sexually assaulted right before my 28th birthday. And I got diagnosed with COVID, right after I turned 29. And it's just like I've been hit over and over and over again. But I don't know. I just feel like with even outside of COVID, like my mission has always been to impact, empower, and inspire billions of lives. Like that's ultimately what I want to do. And so I kind of feel like I didn't ask for COVID, but it's like whenever you ask the universe or you ask God for something, he's not going to give you that thing on a silver platter. Like your gifts come in ugly packaging. He's going to give you opportunities to do those things. So I could sit back and let some other people do it. There's a lot of advocates within our patient population, but I know my heart's in the right place, and I know I have the platform, and it sets my soul on fire. So I'm not going to just shove that to the side and not do anything with it. Like I know I can get us help. We have a lot of work to do, but I would rather embrace it as much as I can, because it is hell. But I'd rather do something about it. I'm a very solution oriented person. So it gives me hope.
I want to know, how was it like in the beginning of your COVID journey, kind of finding those people that were there that, like, I know in the beginning you probably felt alone because you were like, am I the only one dealing with these long-term symptoms? Like, what is going on? How did you reach out to people, or how did you find those people to kind of be there for you and support you?
Yeah, it's a really good question. So whenever I was sick, originally, like whenever I first got sick back in April, I found this like coronavirus survivors group, which as time went on, it ended up being a lot of BS, because it's just a bunch of people who are like, they just got sick and they're like all freaked out and stuff,
Yeah.
And once I realized, I remember reading this article, and I need to go back and find it because I was just talking about it with one of our fellow long COVID patient inside the Blooming Magnolia network, like literally just a couple of days ago. And I read this article, okay, and it was like, I don't know, 3-4 weeks maybe after I had gotten sick. And I was like, okay, my boyfriend is better. I'm not. Like, this is freaking weird. Like, why the hell am I not getting better? Like, this sucks really bad. I mean, I tested positive for almost 8 weeks, and some scary stuff started to happen. Like, I had lost feeling in my legs at one point. I was just having a lot of trouble, like, breathing at night. It felt like an elephant was sitting on my chest. I'm like, what is going on? Well, I read this article, and one thing stood out to me, and it was like, prepare to be sick for a really long time. And I was like, okay, like there's other people out there that got it before me that still aren't better. Like, I know I'm not the only one. So, there was actually somebody that I know from a few years ago in a network marketing company that I was in. I believe his name is Jonah. He reached out to me and he was like, I have a friend that has been, she got sick like a month before you and she's still not better. She's in LA. You want me to connect to you? And I was like, sure. Long story short, she ended up introducing me to this group called Long Haul COVID Fighters. And there's thousands of people in that group. And I was like, holy cow, like that's insane. But I'm so, so grateful for those groups, because I honestly do not know where I would be without those support groups. I would think that I was going absolutely crazy, and it would be so much more difficult without that support, so much more. So I'm grateful to be able to have found them. And, I've met some people that are literally my best friends now through that group. So this community and support groups are absolutely everything. And it just makes me really sad to know that there are people out there that are suffering alone. They don't know that long COVID exists. They don't know that this is a thing. So they're not putting two and two together, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Why do you think that, you know, still they don't really talk about it in the news, you know, like in the media? Why is it so hard right now for people to actually realize that this is a real thing?
Well, up until recently, it has been sick people advocating. Okay. So you have to think I'm chronically ill, right? And I'm a long COVID patient. I've had so many doctor's appointments this year. Like I don't even know how many, and I haven't even really seen my friends in a year. So we have been in the news some, but I think that the United States is still in crisis mode, right, with acute patients. But what many don't realize is there's just a huge, massive tsunami of chronically ill patients that are going to be needing help. And I mark my words, I would say by the summer, once everybody's vaccinated and has gotten help, you're going to be hearing a lot more about this come the summertime. You know, so it's devastating. This is a mass disabling event, is what it is. Yeah. There's never been anything like this in modern history that's causes widespread organ damage, and quite literally nobody has answers. I mean, there's people working on different avenues of research. You know, big academic institutions are just now looking into this stuff, but there are people out there that are passionate about finding some answers. But the problem is it's just not a linear experience. It's a vascular disease. It's not respiratory. So anything that receives blood on your body can be affected, from your skin to your vision to your ears to your toes, quite literally, any organ. And until we have an understanding of what this is on the most basic level, it's going to be really, really hard. There have been patient experiences shared in the mainstream media. You know, I've been on TV a lot, but we need more of it. Like, we desperately need public recognition of this stuff, you know?
Right.
Yeah. And so I know because of all this, you decided to take the step towards building Blooming Magnolia. I'm so excited for you to share about that, because I feel like this was like your baby. Like, you guys worked really hard for this. So share with us what Blooming Magnolia means to you, and what nonprofit you guys are working towards.
Yeah, so Blooming Magnolia, it's a long COVID research and mental health advocacy nonprofit. And you know, we desperately need funding. Like, going back to what I was just talking about, like, research is extensive. It's very, very expensive. And I just refuse to allow us to be swept under the rug, because that's what's happening, especially with this vaccine news. Like, oh, long haulers who get the vaccine, you know, they're feeling better. That was literally done off of a Facebook poll I was wondering about that.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Okay. Like, if somebody's feeling better, that's great. Normally it doesn't last. And if it does, there's really no science behind it. You know, they pulled that data off of a Facebook poll to where my brother, who has never had COVID, could have went on there and voted in the poll. And it's a very poor journalism. And I was very disappointed in the Washington Post for putting that article out, because it's extremely problematic, and it really hurts our patient population, because people hear that, you know, we're fighting for recognition and public recognition, right? But then it's like, oh, well, long haulers are going to be okay. They get the vaccine. A vaccine is not going to take away our widespread organ damage. Granted, okay, if it takes away my fatigue, great. But what about my brain damage? What about my lungs, spleen? What about all of that? And that's what we're seeing in patients across the board. So Anywho, I refuse to allow us to be swept under the rug, and I'm going to do my part. We need help to acknowledge what's going on inside our bodies. The answers lie inside our bodies. And so it meant a lot for me to establish a reputable nonprofit. Our 501c3 is pending. And then furthermore, mental health has been something I've advocated for years. I was suicidal whenever I was 27, like the end of 2017. I've been through my fair share of domestic abuse and sexual assault, and it's just, I really have always wanted to give back. I mean, before I even got hit with COVID, I wanted to start a nonprofit, and it was going to be a self-love, like mental health nonprofit. But I feel like I've lived 10,000 years since then. So it's just divine timing. And I feel like the parity between mental health and physical health doesn't exist. And it's 2021, and that's sad. There's still a stigma. Our policies don't reflect, how important mental health is. So I hope to work to fix that with supporters of Blooming Magnolia. And I want to scale this. I already have some media appearances lined up. I'm just kind of waiting until after my birthday next week. And then we're going to be on a fundraising mission. We'll have grant writing, and I'm eventually wanting to open up here in the next couple months, like a fundraising committee where people pledge to raise a certain amount of money annually, something fun. And then there's going to be an advisory council for those that, have the financial privilege to be able to support our initiatives, and they can they basically buy in, of course, with a vote from our board. And then they're actually able to sit on our advisory council and play a role in decision making. So yeah, I'm really excited. I wanted to do this the right way, and it's going to be good. Like I have a lot of hope. So
yes. I love it. I love everything that you're doing, honestly.
Thank you so much.
I want to read some comments here,
Okay.
Shelby. Let's see. So Saeed says, congrats, Shelby, for your hard work and commitment. Bernie says, I agree.
Thank you. I just saw where I could click and see some of them here. So
yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, we're still getting used to this, but let's see. Maria Escobar says, preach. I love what you said, that sometimes the things we ask for aren't in a silver platter. Yeah, that's true.
And
if you guys have any questions.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Go ahead. No, if you guys have any questions, go ahead and drop them on the comments so we could go ahead and answer them.
I don't think I ever said what our mission is. So our mission is to empower others by providing a platform to strengthen and protect mental health and support those afflicted with long COVID through education and funding of therapeutic research. So if you go to bloomingmagnolia.org, Diana, I think that you joined the online community or whatever. Mm-hmm. If you go to bloomingmagnolia.org, we do have a private online community that's detached from Facebook, because we have like a mental health support group. We have long COVID patients and caretakers, patients and allies, different groups like that. But I wanted it off of Facebook, because whenever you're talking about stuff like that, like, you don't want people to stalk your life,
yeah, that's true.
And so, for anybody that's watching, if you do want to get involved in that network, you can just go to bloomingmagnolia.org and then click on the network tab up top, and then you'll be able to see. And you can download an app on your phone or access it from the web, and it's free. So I wanted to make sure that I had that platform, and I have a lot of really cool things I'm wanting to do with that as well. It's just we're getting ramped up right now, so.
Yeah. And it's a long journey. I mean, from what we've seen and heard, we still have a long way to go, but I feel that, it's so important to maintaining a community that's going to help you, and also mentally, because I know that, even without COVID, there's already issues with mental health, and adding now COVID and now long COVID, it's like it's just a lot. So it's so important to join a community that's going to be there for you, that understands you, and that's going to help you. And I feel that what you're doing with Blooming Magnolia, that's what people need right now, you know. And I'm so glad that
and
you created this.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry, there's a little bit of a lag.
No, I'm just saying that I'm so glad that you created this, because it's just perfect timing
Maria,
right now.
I can't hear you. Can you hear me?
No.
I can hear you.
You guys
I can hear you. Okay, I can hear you.
Okay.
Oh my God, I
don't know. I was like, what's going on?
So no, we're doing so good.
It's good. It's good. We're all good. Okay.
It's good. It's good. We're fine.
Listen, that's another thing that I've learned, is because I'm working out glitches and stuff. And listen, that's just something that you're going to have, and you just have to roll with it. So I think we're doing a good job.
Yeah.
Yeah,
just have to roll with it. Yeah.
Yeah, but no, I'm so glad, super glad that you decided to do this right now, because it's just the perfect timing, honestly. Right now, with everything that's going on, people need this type of community, you know, and they need this support. And I'm just glad that you went ahead and created this. And I know there's a lot of other communities out there, which I'm also glad that, you know, there's people out there who are, you know, fighting for the right to be heard, honestly.
Yeah, because I mean, at the end of the day, if you think about it, like over 500,000 people are dead, and they can't speak up, and they can't say these things, you know. And then there's millions of people, you know, family members that won't, once everything goes back to normal, that family member isn't going to be here, you know. And then there's millions of people globally like me that are falling chronically ill, which is still very difficult. Like, it's hard, y'all. I mean, both of y'all know the transformation I went through with fitness, and I fell in love with fitness. Fitness saved my life. Literally, it helped pull me out of the depression at the end of 2017. And that's whenever my fitness journey started. And losing my health to where I can't really work out. It's very hard on me. And, you know, I have heart issues. I have all sorts of issues now. You know, that's been the most difficult, I think, is just losing my health, because I can't do things I used to. I can't sit here and go out for a hike. Even once we go back to normal, I can't be once COVID, let's say it's completely gone, I can't go out to a club and sit there and, you know, dance my ass off. Like, I can't do things like that anymore. Yeah. And that's because I'm disabled, and this virus disabled me. And it's very, very difficult. You know, I hope that one day I can get back to some level of normalcy in regards to that. But as of right now, I can't. And this entire year of my life, I've been fighting to be able to even do the littlest things and not have a pain-free day. For instance, today I left and I went down to the local cannabis shop, and I needed to get, I'm just trying something for my body to like get rid of some of this inflammation. So I got like this topical cream or whatever that another patient said that the CBD or whatever, it's supposed to help. Like, I'm constantly like trying anything that might help, but it's hard whenever you don't have any answers and you're bouncing around from doctor to doctor. It's not fun, and I would not wish this on my worst enemy. But hopefully with research and recognition, you know, we can get us some help. So.
Right. Yeah. Well, here in Insightful Babes, you know, we're all about being a voice, and I'm so glad that, you know, we got to do this, because this is what we're here to do. We're here to be a voice, and you can definitely count with us. Send us all of the information for the fundraiser. We're going to be here to support you. And, you know, I would want to know if you could go ahead and mention some of the symptoms that you ended up having after, you know, COVID, now with long COVID, that way our audience can be aware of what you're going through.
So if you have been diagnosed with COVID, or even if you haven't, like maybe because there's a lot of people that just got negative tests, the PCR testing is garbage. Okay. Like it's garbage, and it's sad that we're still in that as of a year ago. Like the test sucked.
Yeah.
So it's quite possible that you've had COVID and you tested negative. Let's say you got really sick, you got tested a couple times, came back negative, but you probably had COVID. Some things to definitely look out for is just, of course, the shortness of breath. Tachycardia is a very common thing, like very fast heart rate. So I got diagnosed with POTS. Basically, I have a blood pooling issue to where I can't stand up too quick or change position too quick, or else I'll pass out. So that's pretty common amongst long haulers. The fatigue is insane. I cannot describe it to anyone. This is not like you're tired after a day of work. Or, you're like, I just need to sleep like 14 hours. And then you wake up refreshed. I don't know what refreshed feels like. I swear to you, I do not remember what feeling refreshed feels like. The fatigue is debilitating. It comes out of nowhere. That's something to look out for. Headaches. People have headaches for like ever. And I did too. I'm thankful that is a symptom that has stopped. I was a neurologist, and I had to get on a medication for that, which I'm off of it now, thank goodness. But aches and pains, of course, like all over. Yeah. And I mean, just like you can tell whenever your body is off, like you can tell. And then also like panic attacks and stuff. They are trying to do more like testing and obviously research on literally how this virus affects your brain. So people are having like psychosis kind of episodes in a sense, which is really scary. I had a friend who went through that. The only thing I've experienced in that department has been like weird disassociation stuff, like to where I'm like, I'm going to freak out if I don't get out of here. But that could be like anxiety, PTSD and stuff too, from everything that we've been through the last year. But you just have to really listen to your body, and, tingliness in your limbs. That's another big one. Like weird neurological stuff. Like for instance, a couple of nights ago, my left arm went completely numb, and that has not happened. The last time I had like numbness in my extremities was last May. And I was like, what in the, like, this is so weird. Why is this still happening? And it really kind of freaked me out in a sense. But then I was just like, okay, I'm going to go to sleep and hopefully it'll pass. And it did. But just goes to show, like, I mean, this virus can affect anything. I've had people like their vision, their teeth, like their gums.
Their hair falls out. Yeah,
their hair, hearing, of course, the losing the taste and smell, which my taste and smell is still really warped after a year. It's like, it's not normal. But at the end of the day, you just have to pay attention to your body and pay attention to these things that, you can tell whenever your body's off, and you deserve to talk to your doctor about that. Like, you deserve care. Yeah. And if your doctor doesn't listen to you, then go on to someone else. So I had to fire.
I love what you told me about making sure that your doctor listens to you. And if not, to go ahead and just go on to the next doctor. And, you need to be heard.
Yeah. And I'm not trying to say like doctors are crappy. Like, you have to have doctors, but some of them are very egotistical, and their heads are in the sand, right? And you don't want to work like, you need to be working with somebody who cares about you as much as you care about you. And no, there is no magic bullet. There's nothing that you can take that's going to make you feel instantly better. There's just not, unfortunately. I mean, chronic illnesses have been swept under the rug for decades, right? But we're not going to allow that to happen anymore. So basically, just, as long as you have a doctor that's willing to work with you and follow with you in regards to your symptoms, so you can manage the symptoms as best as you can, that is gold. It's literally everything. I cry in every doctor's appointment now. I'm not even kidding. I'm not even kidding, because, like a couple weeks ago, whenever I had to go to the urgent care down here, I mean, he acknowledged me and he made me feel like comfortable and like, you've got this, Shelby, like, we're going to try to get to the bottom of this. And that meant the absolute world. So it's very, very important because you deserve care. You don't deserve to feel bad,
I want to ask you one more thing.
Yeah.
How do you, like, your main thing that you could say practicing mental health for you? Like, what is one tip or like things that you do to just have that mental health?
One thing that's really been great has writing in a gratitude journal. And I honestly, I mean, there's some days I forget because I forget everything, but I do make it a point to try to do that daily. 5 minutes after I wake up, 5 minutes before I go to bed, and just helps me start off my day right, because living in a body where you don't know what the next day is going to be like. I don't know how long I'm going to be sick. It could be forever. There are people who are chronically ill who never get better. And it's hard to understand that in a healthy body, right? You're like, oh, you're going to get better. Like, things are going to be fine. Like, no, that doesn't happen all the time. And I have come to the point, it's been a year for me with the other SARS viruses. Some of them didn't recover until like 4 years, and some of them never recovered. So I truly don't know what's going to happen, but I'm thankful to be alive, and I don't really have a choice. I do have to live in this body. So I'm going to make the best of it. And writing in a gratitude journal really helps. So
yeah,
how good people, because there's a lot of people out there who, whenever your illness is politicized, that's been really hard.
Yeah, I think that's what's been the hardest, like one of the hardest things for this virus. It's just been so politicized.
Yeah, it's like, it's been difficult. People don't look at you the same. It's like people don't politicize cancer or lupus or endometriosis. Like, I didn't ask for this. And there's people who still think that COVID isn't even a real thing. So,
yeah.
That's why we need people, sharing their stories and, talking about that and being a voice, because, we definitely need to get that out there.
For sure. 100%.
Right. And then one last thing. I know that there's we live right now in a point where everybody knows someone who has COVID. So for instance, let's say, I'll put myself as an example. I haven't gotten COVID. Thank God. I'm super grateful for that. But, let's say I would want to support a friend who has gotten COVID, and like you mentioned, it's so easy for us who haven't gotten COVID yet to say, oh, you'll be good, just take care of yourself. But we don't know exactly, what they're going through. And I know Diana also, she also had COVID a while ago. And at the time I felt like, oh my God, I can't do anything. Or what can I do? I can say you'll be okay, but I know that that's not really going to help. But what would you recommend, me or the people who haven't gotten COVID yet? How can we help those who have suffered from COVID?
Yeah. So in regards to long haulers or long COVID patients, share the stories. It doesn't necessarily have to be on social media, even though that does help, but make sure that long COVID is a part of your conversations, because this will be a public health debacle to last for decades to come. You're not, you're going to continue hearing about it. That's for sure. And someone's got to pay, right? So just making sure that people know about this stuff, because a lot of people too, they're not putting two and two together. They may have gotten sick a couple of months ago, but they're having some weird issues pop up. You hear about it. I know I at least do. I hear about it all the time. Mild case, nothing crazy. Blood clots 3 months later. you know, pulmonary issues and everything. And it, you know, some people are like, oh, that can't be from COVID. Yes, it can. And we don't know why, but there is something within this virus. There's something that it does. I mean, it tears up your vascular system. And, you know, I mean, but you might be fine too. But the point is, like, I mean, my boyfriend has had 0 issues. You know, he had a fever for 3 days and he's fine. And here I am suffering almost a year later. But the key is by having these conversations and by bringing it up and, like, you know, just keeping the conversation going, that helps so much, so much. And I am going to be doing some campaigns within the Blooming Magnolia Network soon. Like, I'm thinking about maybe pairing a patient with like a healthy patient ally, and you maybe share their story or whatever, and like we'll have a fun giveaway, and like vice versa, you know, to where everybody kind of benefits with the collective initiatives and stuff. But I'm just trying to brainstorm some different ways to do that, because it is so important. You know, like, we haven't even really hit the tip of the iceberg, and that's scary. Yeah. It's scary. And we don't know what this is going to look like 4, 5, 6 years from now. But what I do know is research is very extensive and expensive. And so if you all or anybody watching, if you know of anybody that does like charitable contributions for the year, and they are trying to decide, like, you know, where to, you know, put their charitable contributions, like, just please consider our Blooming Magnolia, because you know, it's going to be going to a good place and something that's very needed. And hopefully whenever we shine light on long COVID research, it shines the light on other chronic illnesses that have been swept under the rug for decades, you know. And that's my hope with all of this. And we're also wanting to sponsor like sexual assault survivors and sponsor a classroom and like have, you know, some cool mental health stuff going on, like once I'm able to go speak at schools. And there's a lot that we're wanting to do, and you can find out more about our initiatives on our website, but we would love to have, you know, your consideration for this stuff. And Diana, I think I saw where you donated, didn't you?
Yeah.
I know. I was like, oh, yay. I'm so happy to get like something like that, because it helps with our initiatives so much.
Yeah, of course.
You know, that's what a nonprofit is. Like, we will run strictly off of donations. I've had to use a lot of my own money to get it going, but you know, it's
all worth
it together.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. We're so proud of you, Shelby.
Thank you.
And keep doing your thing, keep shining, because like Maria says, you're inspiring a lot of us. So
thank you.
I'm proud of you.
I really appreciate it. You know, sometimes you just have to start and everything will end up falling into place. So done is better than perfect.
Yes.
Yeah. And we all have a purpose in this life, you know, and we've known you for a few years already. And, and, you know, like, seeing what you've been accomplishing, aside from like every challenge that you've been through, you know, it's just super inspiring, and we're honestly super proud of you. We're here to support you, girl. Te vamos a apoyar, como decimos, you know, in Spanish. We're going to support you. We're here to be a voice with you, girl. So thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us with the Insightful Babes. And we're just so glad that you're doing this. So thank you again. A lot of the comments, you know, they're so happy that you have been doing this, and everybody's super happy for that. So
thank you. Yeah, just definitely get plugged into the Blooming Magnolia Network though. It's a little slow right now because we're getting ramped up. We have about like 50 members or something like that, but like it'll grow, and it's going to be really, really cool. And always be sure you extend that to other people that are like really going through it, because I'm also working on like affordable access to therapist, you know, and trying to get some cool things going there. So definitely, you know, join the network and we can get plugged in that way. And I appreciate you guys. And I hope to be able to come back on here, knowing more Spanish than I do, because my boyfriend
Let's do a whole interview in Spanish.
my boyfriend, he is like the worst Spanish teacher ever, and his parents don't hardly speak any English at all. And so me and his mom have like a translator, and I'm like, I can understand a lot of what you're saying, but I need some help speaking it. So I'm going to set that goal that eventually, I'm not putting time on it because I'm just not doing that right now. But
we got you, girl.
And we're going to do this in Spanish, okay?
Yeah.
Alrighty. It's here, guys.
It's already
it's gonna stay here. All right.
Y'all heard me say it. So, oh God, what did I do?
Don't worry, we'll help you. We'll help you, girl.
Yeah, you got this.
Which, by the way, sorry, one more thing. So that's what I am thinking about doing, is eventually bringing somebody on that can translate some of this stuff into Spanish for me, because there are people who speak Spanish who are dealing with long COVID, and I need somebody to be able to like translate what is going on, because I had a couple people find me in Mexico actually, and they wrote it all in Spanish. They sent me like a DM, and my boyfriend, he translated it and everything, but she was just like, I'm so grateful that like you're doing this, and like, you know, this is happening. You know, it's a global thing. You know, COVID doesn't care what race you are, what language you speak, or how old you are, what your gender is. It doesn't care. But the problem is a lot of people are being affected. So that is something that I want to end up doing to make it more inclusive, because that's a big thing. And I don't think that there's any Spanish long COVID support groups or whatever. So that's on the agenda.
We got you, girl.
Keep us informed. Keep us informed.
Yeah, I will.
For sure.
Awesome. Okay, guys. Well, thank you so much again, Shelby, for being here. We appreciate the time, and I had so much fun today, and I'm excited for the next interview in Spanish.
Maybe not the next one, but it's coming.
We will be
so much. I really appreciate it.
We will definitely be leaving all of the information that you guys need to know about Blooming Magnolia. We're going to leave all of it in the description on this video. And if you guys ever would want to connect with Shelby, they can reach you at Shelby Hedgecock on Instagram, or any on the social media platform. She's all over social media. She's all over. Hey, she's being a voice out there, you know, so you'll find her. You'll find her out there. But she'd be happy. I'm sure that she'd be happy to help you guys and help you connect with a group or a community out there. But thank you so much, Shelby, again, for being here, for being our special guest. Keep going, girl. Keep going.
Thank you. We're just getting started.
Exactly. Exactly.
Guys.
Alrighty. Take care, y'all. Thank you.